Are we ready to go? Everybody good? All right, welcome everybody to Culinary Workers Union Local 226. Thank you for coming. We know this economy has been tough for working folks. Meanwhile, the richest of the rich, the biggest corporations are doing quite well. But we've got to make sure that working class folks, middle class folks, and working families, they deserve a fair shot. We're in the Trump slump right now, and it's a problem. One of the things we've got to make sure, though, is that the legislation that has been passed, that it's right for working class folks and working class families. Now, when Trump went out and put no taxes on tips out there during the campaign, folks were skeptical. Our delegation, including Congressman Steven Horsford, jumped into action because the idea is to make sure it's not a promise, that it's something real. And culinary workers, bartenders union, and Congressman Horsford and the rest of our delegation has been diligent to make sure that what we have can actually, and what's been passed, can help working families. Now, no taxes on tips, it didn't happen. But what did happen was a tax credit, but it's got issues. And again, it doesn't make any sense if we have something passed that our folks can't use or is not fair and not able to be worked through. So there is a bill, you'll hear about it in a minute from the congressman, but the issues are out there. This idea of not being permanent, the idea of not dealing with automatic gratuities, of not taking on this marriage tax penalty, those issues are still big issues. So I just want to say this, that we've got some work to do, but we've got a warrior on our side. Congressman Steven Horsford has been on our picket lines. He's been in negotiations with us, whether it's with the companies or the IRS. We can count on him to back up workers. And thank goodness you're here today, Congressman Horsford. So let's give us a big round of applause. Congressman Steven Horsford.
Thank you, Ted. It's great to be back in the House of Labor here at the Culinary Workers 226 and Bartenders 165. And I appreciate the opportunity because there's no better place than the House of Labor, and especially after being in Washington, D.C. It's freezing cold back there. I am Congressman Steven Horsford, and before I was ever elected to anything, though, I'm proud to have worked shoulder to shoulder with the culinary, led the Culinary Training Academy for 10 years before I went to Congress. And I never forget where I come from, what I'm standing for, and what I'm fighting for. And that's workers here in Las Vegas. Let's be honest about something. This city runs because of working people. Our hotels run because of you. Our restaurants run because of you. And our casinos run because of you. And in this city, we understand something. Tips are not charity. They're not a guarantee. They are earned. Earned through hustle, through long shifts on your feet, through long nights and weekends and holidays away from your family. Because of your professionalism and your pride every single day, we are known as the hospitality capital of the world. But when tourism dips, tips dip. Right now, too many workers are feeling what folks are calling the Trump slump. Fewer visitors, tighter spending, and smaller paychecks. When tips dip, paychecks shrink. And when paychecks shrink, families feel it immediately through rent, groceries, childcare, gas, and the electric bill. That's the real economy. Politicians and pundits like to talk about stock prices and corporate profits, but the real state of the economy is what workers feel every 2 weeks when they get their paycheck. If tips are down, the economy is down for working families. If workers are choosing between groceries and rent, the economy is not working. And if someone working full-time still can't get ahead, then the system is broken because one job should be enough. Tip workers see the economy first. when travel slows, when families spend less, and when shifts get cut. That's why the bill that I'm introducing matters. Last summer, Republicans passed what they call a tax bill for working people. But let's be honest, their one big ugly law delivered permanent tax breaks for billionaires and corporations and temporary relief for tip workers. It left huge loopholes. It failed to eliminate the sub-minimum wage of $2.13 an hour. And it leaves workers wondering what happens when the benefit expires in 2028. So if Washington is serious about no tax on tips, then it has to work in real life, not just as a slogan, because slogans are easy. Governing is harder. That's why I'm proud to be here to introduce TIP, the TIP Improvement Act, the Tipped Income Protection and Improvement Act. This is a bill that finishes the job that was started with the big ugly bill. So let me be clear what this idea does. First of all, it doesn't come from lobbyists. It doesn't come from special interests. This bill came from you, the workers, culinary workers, servers, bartenders, hotel staff, hospitality employees who live this reality every day. The TIP Improvement Act makes tax relief permanent, not temporary. It eliminates the outdated sub-minimum tip wage, which is as low as $2.13 an hour in some states. It ends the marriage penalty by raising the deduction cap for joint filers from $25,000 to $50,000. Can you keep and earn more with $50,000 of tax deductions in your pocket? Yeah. It helps close loopholes so that insiders can't gain a benefit meant for workers. And it ensures automatic gratuities count as tips when they actually go to workers. Simply put, this bill was built by workers, strengthened by workers, and designed to protect workers. And I want to say this, I want to thank your union leadership, Ted and Diana and others, because your direction, your letter that you sent to me is why this legislation is now introduced. You outlined what these needs were. We took your ideas and now we're going to make it federal law. Anyone who truly cares about tip workers should stand with us today. Stand with the people who power this city. Stand with the working families. Stand for fairness. Because when workers do well, Las Vegas does well. When workers succeed, Las Vegas succeeds. And that is what we need right now at a time when so many families are struggling to get by. We have to make the promise of no tax on tips real. And the only way to do that is to pass the TIP Improvement Act that is designed by workers for workers. So thank you all very much for allowing me to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Congressman Horsford. Now we'd like to hear from a very proud Culinary Union worker, Eileen Scott.
I'm over here. Hi guys, I'm so happy to be here today to talk about this. My name is Eileen Scott. I have been a cocktail server for over 20 years. For the last 9 years, I have been working at Harris Casino as a proud worker and a Culinary Union member. So I'm here to talk about no tax on tips. With my experience, 85% of my tips go to my bills. It pays my mortgage, it pays my bills, it takes care of my family. This is how I survive off of my tips. So how I feel is when a guest gives me a tip, I take it as a gift for my hard work and everything I put in to make sure the service is done correctly. So I always fought with the idea of why is my gift that a customer gives me for my hard work, I have to share it with 100%. I couldn't understand that, and I've been fighting that for a long time. So this, what we're going through today, did not just happen overnight. Here in Nevada, our leader, Congressman Steve Horsford, has been working on this for years. This is not a political statement. It didn't come along because of campaigning. It came because they care about the hard workers here in Nevada and states. And we so appreciate that. My coworkers are so excited about what's going to take place. We still have questions about it, but anything helps right now. With the economy, it helps. So I want to thank everyone that was involved with this and helped us out with this, but this should not be a temporary thing. This should be permanent. This should be something that is included, and we don't have to worry about it or fight again about it again in a couple of years. This is something that we deserve. We worked hard for it, and we should be, thank you. We should be rewarded for it. You know, it should not be just, okay, we're going to put a Band-Aid on it, and once it's semi-healed, we're going to take it off, and you're back to where you were again. So that's the one fight we have to fight on and making it permanent. Also, automatic utilities. I work in a lounge, and there's a lot more parties than guests nowadays. So these companies are bringing in, they do conventions. This town's full of convention now. That's how we make our money. We don't make our money off people coming on vacation anymore because they don't. We can't afford it. So we make our money off of these parties. The company pays the casino for the service that we work hard and we serve hard. And so to be left out of that group is so unfair. Everyone, no one should be left behind because of this. We all should be getting that because in the end, someone is going to lose, and it shouldn't be the hard workers here in Nevada. So I'm so grateful, but we're still so excited about all of this and everyone who had a hand in making this happen, everyone who has a hand in improving all the stuff that's going to make this town great. So I just want to thank everyone for all their help.
Thank you so much, Eileen. So, Bethany, do we have some questions or anybody who has questions? Because we have the congressman for a few minutes, and so we should take advantage.
While we're here now, we got them.
You know, check.
A lot of people are asking me how this allocation works with the tips. Is that part of, automatic utility or what? And also another question too is how does that affect our income? Because with the tips, it puts us in a different bracket. So those who want to pay a mortgage or pay for cars, how will that affect it?
Well, I can answer on the allocation part, but as far as different tax brackets.
So, look, we've fought very hard for over 30 years, and it's been an argument and a fight with the IRS for fair taxation. In Las Vegas and in Nevada and in large gaming areas, we have something called a tip allocation that's negotiated. That doesn't go away under this. So we still, through our Tip Earners Legal Defense Fund that we started years ago, that now has become our legal defense fund for our members, have the ability to negotiate and fight back on unfair tip allocations. And that's going to happen every time that gets renegotiated. But the tax credit looks at your tip allocation, if you're in the tip allocation program, or if you're not, then on your claimed tips. The idea here, though, is that it's just to get this law and these regs corrected because they're still not fair to tip workers. And I know, Stephen, you may want to add to that.
So I'm on the committee, the Ways and Means Committee that oversees the IRS. And I always say this, I don't work for the federal government, and I definitely don't work for the IRS. My job is to work for all of you to make the IRS accountable to us. And that is one of the reasons that I helped facilitate the meeting between the Culinary Union, your members, and the employers with the IRS to discuss the tip allocation formula, because it was done in a very unfair way for workers. And so while you as a union continue to fight to make that better and to update it, I will make sure that we get the IRS to be responsive to your request. Secondly, on the issue of tips counting towards your income, this is why you can't just have a slogan. You actually have to work on the details of a bill. No tax on tips didn't come from one person in the White House. It came from the workers. And then the workers expect you to get the details of the policy right. Well, that didn't happen. That's why they gave permanent tax breaks to billionaires, and then they left everybody else out. So now what I'm doing is trying to make sure that for tip workers, number one, you do get the full credit for what you earn, that you are able to use that income for things such as being able to qualify for a mortgage, but also so that you keep paying into your Social Security, so that when you retire, you have that benefit, that security from Social Security there for you, particularly as women, Black women and Latina women who earn less typically and have less in their retirement. We want to make sure that that security is there for you now and when you retire. Fortunately for you and your union, you fought for better wages, for better health care, for a pension, and all of these are benefits that you have that a lot of tip workers don't have. So in addition to protecting your benefits and your rights, we're also working to try to eliminate this sub-minimum wage. 7 million workers in America make as little as $2.13 an hour. Can you imagine in the United States anyone making as little as $2.13 an hour? You can't pay the rent or meet the needs of your family on $2.13 an hour. So my bill, in addition to permanently giving the tax break to tip workers so you could keep more of your hard-earned money, it also eliminates that sub-minimum wage so that we can lift all tip workers into the types of jobs and careers that you have fought for here at the Culinary 226, and that all tip workers should have all across this country.
All right, so we're good on questions? Good, all right. Well, yes. Why don't you take that?
Yeah, so the Tip Improvement Act applies to all tipped workers. And what it does is it ensures that the benefits that tip workers rightfully have earned go to all tip workers. And I want to say this because the Culinary Union does fight for all tip workers. It fights for those that they have organized in the hotels, and it's also working to fight to raise the wages and to raise the standard for all the other tip workers. And this is something that's very important because a lot of times when you're at a non-union property or you're out in some local restaurant, you don't realize that some of those workers, those tip workers, don't have the same benefits. They don't have the same protections. And that is something that we need to have in place, both here in Nevada, because we are the standard, but all across the country. Because tip workers drive our local economy, the service sector economy, And again, when tip workers succeed, our entire economy succeeds. When they're left out and they're left behind, then our entire economy suffers. And it's time for us to put the needs of workers at the center of our policy, not big billionaires and not big corporations. And that's why it's time to pass the Tip Improvement Act, because it finally completes this work that's necessary as part of no tax on tips, and it makes it real for tip workers. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, on the tip allocation, who's supposed to explain it to us, people below you? Our employers or the IRS?
Well, here's the good news is that at the end of the day, the union and you all as shop stewards and leaders in the union and members, look, we've had to rely on our allies, our leaders like Congressman Horsford, like Senator Harry Reid, that was in the fight with us for many, many years. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. There's a lot of information out there, but we also have put out a lot of information. Our communications team puts out a lot of information to explain not just the allocation, but this tax credit, because everybody, it's time to file, right? It's time to file. So one of the things we're having is a couple of large events. We're going to bring our shop stewards together. I believe it's February 28th coming up. And then as we get closer to tax time, we're going to do a large event. Congressman Horsford has offered to be at both of those events. First one for all of our shop stewards so we can get everybody understanding of the ins and outs and answer questions. But then for our members that are either Culinary and Bartender Union members or for members throughout the community too. So that's planned before tax time. That's this year. So we've got some events coming up to really help folks out with that. Okay. All right. So are we in and up here? Okay, guys, come back up and join us again. We're going to do a quick chant and then come on up, guys. All right. Everybody get in close. All right, guys. Now, thank goodness for Congressman Steven Horsford. We've got some leaders here in Nevada, but Congressman Horsford is fighting not only for us here in Nevada, but also workers all across this country. And thank you so much, Congressman Horsford. All right. Well, are we ready, guys?
We're ready.
All right. All right. Sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.